What's going on, traders? Hope everybody's having a great weekend. Wanted to do a recap here and some analysis of the E-mini S&P futures. We're going to go over some NASDAQ futures as well, some NQ, and take a look at the weekly chart here as well as the daily time frame, and we'll break it down with some key hourly levels and analysis as well. Of course, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and in no way should be viewed as financial advice. To kick off the weekly video, of course, we're going to look over the economic calendar for this week. We do have some important data that is coming out we want to be aware of. So let's get into that, and then we'll get into the charts as well as some of those other data points that we like to look at to kind of get a broader viewpoint of the market and see where we might be able to put on some risk, stay away from taking trades, and things like that. All right, so thank you again for joining me. Let's get into the economic calendar for this week and take a look at what's on the docket. Okay, so Monday, we really don't have much. Goolsby speaking in a radio interview at 1 o'clock. Tuesday, nothing going on. But Wednesday, April 10th, we do have CPI coming in at 8:30. So we definitely want to pay attention to that big market mover and see how the market reacts to that print. It looks like so far the medium forecast print is around 3.5%, and which would be a little bit hotter than the previous print at coming in at 3.2. Then we have Bowman speaking at 8:45, right after the data. Goolsby speaking at 12:45, and then we have FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock, which really has not moved the market too much, but we will be aware of that. Thursday we have initial jobless claims and PPI. Definitely want to pay attention to what those numbers are coming in at 8:30. Then we have Bowman again at 8:45. Collins speaking at 12. Goolsby on the mic again, 12:45. And at 1:30 we have Bostic speaking as well. Friday we have Bostic speaking again at 2:30, daily at 3:30, and some data for import price index at 8:30. So definitely a decent amount of speakers again this week, but the PPI and CPI is really what the market will be looking at for major data points, and I think that Monday, we should see normal price action. Tuesday, probably best to be a little bit hesitant and cautious trading. We could see some indecision, choppy, slow price action. Probably a good day really not to do much, and as the market anticipates that print. So just a word of caution there. All right, so we're going to start off with the ES weekly chart here and see what we can take away. We do have kind of a wider balance now with that sell-off on Thursday bringing us down. We can make this kind of argument now for a potential balance zone that we want to watch kind of from this weekly perspective, right? Kind of in this zone, we're gonna say right here. We didn't exactly hit the low, but we can kind of put it in here from the lows of the week of the 18th, right? So I'm gonna be watching this, and there isn't much down. I really, you could make this argument really, to bring us down to the highs of the 26th right here. But it's just a few points down, and I think that really we want to be paying attention a little bit more to this area, even though if we do sell off from there, it probably wouldn't be that much of a drop down lower. But either way, I'm going to mark this off here so we can pay attention to kind of this area. Generally speaking, as I said, you can kind of bring it down really, maybe even here a little bit wider. But I think it would be safe to say that if we did break under the weekly range of the week of, what is this, the 18th, so pretty much under, actually I didn't get it perfect. Let me actually get it right where it needs to be. What's this price? The low is 51.81 3/4. Yeah, so we can call it 51.82. There we go. Just move that up. There we go. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm going to watch that as an important level that bulls are definitely going to need to hold. And again, this is from that weekly perspective, so it is a bit far away. But nevertheless, I do think it is important to kind of note that from the weekly perspective. The other thing, though, that I'm watching, and we'll mark off the balance highs here, right here at that 53.33. Let me actually just mark that off. 3.3 half. Okay. So now we have a weekly balance there that we can kind of look at for really the bigger move on that weekly time frame. However, really what I'm also going to be watching, and we're going to zoom in here a little bit, and I'm also going to be paying attention to the weekly low here of the 25th, right? And that's going to put us in right here. That's about, let me actually, if you want the exact number, it's going to be 52.63. But I think we can come down from there. We can also bring in the high here of the 11th, and that high is 52.53. So I want to be watching this area right here. I think this is going to be key. And we did basically last week, obviously this new week, we were in Globex right now, so the new weekly candle has opened up. But I think that this is going to be our key pivot, right? As long as we hold basically over the 52.53. I mean, for me, last stop really is going to be that whole number at 52.50. If we start trading under that, once again, I would suspect that we would be more likely to start to drift and trade back down towards the lower part of this weekly range, bringing us down to 5200, and maybe that full stop number, that 51.82, 51.80 level, I think would be a appropriate area that we could drift into. And it might, of course, not be a straight shot. There's many levels here in between that we are going to kind of look at, once we break it down into the daily chart. But just, from the weekly point of view, I think that this would be kind of what would eventually, happen, that we might go sideways a little bit, but eventually come down into this area. Maybe just stopping again at that 5200, I think would be kind of a likely zone where we could look to potentially put on some longs with a nice risk to reward there. However, if that does break that 51.80 area, I would probably be targeting a bit lower down in the 51.50s, and again, I would probably be looking at the 51.40 area as well down here, which we could retest the highs of the week of the February 26th here. So 51, 52, anywhere in that area, 51, 40, somewhere in that zone, I think would be the next downside target that you could look at, and a potential place for a weekly higher low to be put in that we can then trade up. But if we start breaking under that, then we've got some definite more serious issues that we can talk about if and when we get into there. All right, but as long as we hold over really this area here, stay contained within the weakest range of the 25th, which we try to do. We're right on that kind of breaking point Then we can look for trades to come back up into 5,300 and back towards the highs here. And obviously, once we break out of here, we're going to then look for some type of a retest, and then ultimately probably look to trade into the 5,400 level. So we'll see what we get if the bulls have that. But this is still a tradable weekly range here, without a doubt. So that's all well and good. All right, let's get down here into the daily chart, and see what we can take away. A couple of other levels we may want to pay attention to. The daily here is definitely putting in a downtrend overall, but nothing really to be too concerned about, as long as again we're contained within that weekly range. But I think the daily is showing a little bit more cracks in the sand, but we will obviously pay attention to this key pivot. With that being said, a pretty clear trend coming in here, with this being our swing high and then our low, another high here. A good old college try for the Bulls, but unable to with that geopolitical kind of news. We kind of got hit with a triple whammy of news, with the geopolitical and the Fed on Thursday, giving us a nice quick flush down lower, but a nice recovery there on the Friday session, pretty much recapturing almost all of the move back, resolving a lot of that damage. But we're kind of just in this neutral zone right now, so we're really going to have to see which side's going to break down, and then where we could potentially, go from there. But, I think it's pretty clear here to see the downtrend really that's going to need to be neutralized. And, I could put it out here, but we'll just keep it right here. And basically exactly, what I was saying, if we trade here and we start to come up, that's going to neutralize this little downtrend. And then we can look, again, for trades to come up higher, potentially into Thursday's highs, but we'll get into that overall. But from the weekly view, I do think that this is important to realize the bigger range that we are trading in. We are still kind of, the uptrend now has kind of started to go a little more sideways, right? So this can be a situation that traders find a little bit more difficult to trade. So keep that in mind if you do have issues trading within the range. Market isn't going right here, consistently making higher highs and higher lows. You can see now we've kind of come into that sideways action right here, and we've always talked about this, right? Running. Now we are resting in the sideways, right? The two methods really of the price delivery. So here we are sideways, and let's see what's going to happen, from the bigger picture perspective. So we'll see. Right now, Globex is pretty much flat. Nothing's really changed overall when it comes to that. All right, let's get down into some hourly levels for ES and take a look at that from more of a day trading perspective. What could we potentially take away from this viewpoint? Okay, so we're going to get more granular here. Obviously, we're going to keep a close eye on the Thursday session lows down here in the 5,200, 51.90 area. Is that going to be the major area that we're going to pay attention to? But I've got two other areas here I would definitely want to watch out for. This low here, right, you can see also here when we came down, this area here, I think I'm going to be also very cognizant of. Oops. Okay, make a little zone here. All right, so that's going to be in the 52.35, 52.35 area. I'm going to pay attention to that as well coming into this week. I'm going to start to get a little bit more nervous. We start trading under there, and definitely more nervous if we start trading under this 5 o'clock, this Thursday's 3 p.m. high, right? We start trading under here. I'm not going to be too excited about going long. We're going to start to neutralize this uptrend if we start really trading under. And, I'm not really too keen on just support and resistance. So I can make really a zone, really I think at under 52.20. That's when this trend really starts to get neutralized. So really for the bulls, we want to see, if you are bullish, a 52.35 to hold up, but ultimately 52.20 to hold up. This starts to break, then we can start seeing this kind of situation come down, and we possibly trade into these equal lows. I'd also actually kind of be a little bit cognizant right here of this kind of small, let me mark it off like this kind of small balance range right here, this flag that got invalidated, or this bear flag that got invalidated, this shift in this market structure here. So if this breaks, this is going to be a warning. This is definitely a warning. And if this level starts to break right here, we start to take out this previous structure shift, 52, 52.7, 52.05, we start breaking under that. Our target's going to be these equal lows down here, and they start to break under that 51, that 51.90. Then watch out, we're probably going to be selling down a bit more, which would obviously not be a good look overall. But let's see here. Now, we're kind of trapped, like I said. Let's hold up. Let's hold, the 52.35. Anything in here really is just going to be a chop area. I mean, for the major continuation, we're going to have to get over the kind of these 11 o'clock highs is going to be the next thing that we're going to see. Otherwise, and this wouldn't surprise me, if we see some type of price action tomorrow that's even just kind of like this, maybe we get down here, but I would be a little surprised to see if we can get over Friday's highs. Maybe we can, but Monday, especially coming to usually more range anyway, and coming into the CPI, I would be cautious about that. However, we really start getting over the this 52. What is this? What was the high here? 52. Yeah, 52.72 half. Then I think the next upside target will probably be this point of pain here, this breakdown candle from Tuesday. So your bulls could target 52.88, 52.90 area. I think that would be a fair zone that they could come up to test. Maybe they can get up to the 95, right? I could give them that. Kind of trying to get into this previous breakdown structure area here. You can see the highs here also, and this is kind of where we had that first break in the structure on Thursday, and then this level was the big one that really brought us down. So we'll see. So over 52.72, I think 52.87, 52.90 next target, and then for the bulls after that, we can get probably another 5 or 6 more points. Maybe over the 95, you'll probably get that this wick here at 5,300. So that's what I am watching for the ES. All right, so let's get into the NQ now, the NASI, and do some analysis there, and see what we can take away. Okay. Oh, this one's going to keep our trend line. Okay. I think that was done on the daily. That's fine. All right, so the NASDAQ, let me just, we can keep it up, it's fine. All right, so we're going to take a look here at the weekly chart. Oh, you know what I meant to do on ES? I did want to do a little to-market profile here on ES really quickly. Okay, we filled out some more of this profile here. I kind of went over, oh, this is not going to be, here we go. Oh, that's, Okay, here we go. This is what I want. All right. I'm definitely gonna pay attention. We filled out. I'm wondering if we trade more into these single prints a little bit up in the 90s, as we were just talking about that for that other target. When we're going over some of our levels. The thing is that I'm wondering about that. I don't think that there's gonna be that much urgency into that. We've already had plenty of time that we've traded up in that area here in the auction. You can see that we filled out pretty much in here pretty nicely already. So there really isn't that kind of gap in this area to kind of really have that urgency to sell into these single prints. But I do think that we could spend a little bit of time up here. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to definitely pay attention to Friday session value area high up in the 5270s. The low as well. Where did we open up right now? We're at 52.55. So we're trading pretty much right around the point of control of Friday's session. So pay attention to this area. If we start trading under it, we could come back and retest Friday's value area lows in the 53 area. So that'd be about 10-15 points down lower under that. And it's quite possible we can trade back down here into the 52.20s. We did spend a little bit of time in here, but it wouldn't surprise me if we possibly want to potentially fill some of this out a little bit here as well. But as we were talking about over Friday's highs, then we're looking again to trade back up into this area right here. But I don't know how much time really we'd spend up there. We filled out that already, and that was pretty much where we were hanging out. Point of control is from the session of the 1st, April Fool's, and the 27th. So, and as well of the 3rd here. We didn't spend that much time up here, but either way, keep an eye on that. Right now, we're trading in this area here. To be honest with you, I think it's very likely we're just going to end up printing an inside profile in here. We'll probably just end up trading within this range, maybe up in here, and just really keep it contained. Maybe we spend a little bit of time up here, but mostly I wouldn't be too shocked that to just see us trade within this area of range. So definitely gonna pay attention to the low here, the value area low at that 30 value area high here at 68. And we'll look at that 73 there as well, and we'll mark off kind of our POC right here. So watch. I again really would not be surprised if we just traded kind of in this zone, maybe even for the next 2 days. Maybe we see a little bit of time down here as well. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get back to the NASDAQ here. I'm sorry, I just forgot that I wanted to go over that with you guys. All right, let's get back into the NASI. Okay. All right, so everything again still fine here from the weekly perspective for me on the NASDAQ. We're definitely going to still be paying attention to this uptrend channel that we have been trading in. We did sneak below it last week, of course, and then came back this week, has opened up just basically right on that trend line. So kind of a precarious situation. If the bulls are going to step in, now's the time that they need to do it from this weekly point of view. I'm definitely going to be paying attention more so. We're right. Sorry, the dog walked in. We're going to definitely be paying attention to the highs right here of this 3-week kind of balance zone. So I'm going to mark this off. NQ, you have to have a little bit of a range there for you. As it stands. So let's zoom in here so we can see it a little bit better. So right here, it's going to be the 18,300. We're going to just basically call it 18,300, 18,302. But you know how NAS is. That's it could be 5 points in that range, 10 points in that range. So take it all with a little bit of a grain of salt. But that general area here, definitely going to look at that whole number, the 18,300, as a key area that we're going to need to be holding, which we're just kind of floating on right now. But ideally, we really want to see acceptance back over the 340 for me, and then we can start to kind of drift back up here in this channel. It's very possible that we just trade sideways here for a little bit, as I was mentioning ahead of this big data week. But I'll definitely be watching this from a bigger perspective point of view. But down here, the other big area that we want to pay attention to is pretty much here, the highs here of this February, the weekly February 12th, and what is this, the 5th, and that kind of coincides with our lows here of the 3rd and the 11th of March. So I'm going to mark off this area here, this, and then this. You can see obviously this is exactly where when we traded down on that Thursday sell-off, where we really came into, right? So this is going to be the big key area here on the weekly that really is going to need to defend. We start trading under this area, and I have this at 1836 or 1836. You could really count in the figure there at the 1800. As that key whole number. You know how NQ is, 30 points really is kind of, especially when we're dealing with a weekly or daily kind of time frame, that's a dime a dozen, 30 points, right? So I'm going to be watching this big area here, right? We're basically the 1800. I mean, that's 300 points down. We're looking at a weekly perspective here, so we've got way bigger ranges that we are dealing with. But if we do see any big major reactions, at least we'll have this kind of zone kind of tagged out for us that might offer us a nice risk to reward when all is lost, and then we say, oh no, look at this big level this big area here that we're coming to. So let's pay attention to this. Basically 1870, 1840, 1800 flat. So let's pay attention to that. Otherwise, here from the weekly perspective, we're going to break it down a little bit and get into the daily here. Not much to see in this area here right now. But let's see. The weekly high here for last week. We'll mark it off pretty much equal highs with last week as well. The week, what is this, of the 25th. So we will mark that off as well right here, and that's going to be around that 18,600, 18,615 we can call it. Pay attention to that as well. I think breaking over that can give us the momentum really to come back up, and we'll probably get back up into the 700s, 710 area. Would not surprise me at all to see that happen. All right, so we've got some of these big weekly areas mulled out, and really, also I'd be kind of, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't kind of mark off this key area here, the high of the week of the 26th. You can also see that pretty much gives us the equal high from what we've just opened up with here for this week. Well, this is at 71. So pay attention to that as well. I think that once we start really trading over that 71, 18,371, 370, I think that would be a good sign for the bulls bigger picture. But we can kind of look at, I'm going to take this off just for illustration purposes. I don't know why I have two trend lines there. Is kind of a zone we could potentially watch for here. Oh, looks like they were trying to break that 300. As kind of a bit of a balance range. I'm actually going to bring this down just a little bit. That you can kind of watch here. It's going to be from that 18,300, 18,335 as a pivot, trade us up into that 18,371. So under the 335, look for those possible trades down into the figure that 18,300. over, looking for final stop rest trades coming into that 370. All right, let's break it down here a little bit more on the daily chart, see if there are any other daily levels we want to pay attention to, and take a look at how these levels kind of stack up, our weekly levels stack up here on our daily chart. Okay, let's throw it in. A little bit messy for me, but you know how it is on the NAS here. And really you can see with all this, I almost get a headache kind of looking in this area here. Just be careful in this area. You can see how this has kind of been a major zone that we've contested in here. But I think that you can really see here that this downtrend here on the daily, just like we were talking about on ES, and I can put it in. Let me just do it this way. I mean, it's not the cleanest here. That really getting over that 70, and really, we could say 400, 18.4 over the figure there. That's gonna really what's gonna start to neutralize this daily downtrend that we have been trading in. You can see here that each high really has been lower. I mean, overall. With the lower lows. So from the daily perspective, although we are a bit more neutral-ish, I would say, on the weekly, daily still showing a little bit of that downtrend. Overall, yes, sideways. We're trading in this bigger picture range here from the weekly, but the daily, we can't deny that we are still below the daily 9 and 20, but not by that much. Just the 9 is sitting at 18,337. Basically the 40. So that's exactly, it's sitting right at that pivot, that 18,400. So we get over that, I think then we're good. Basically that's where the daily 9 and 20 are sitting at, just in that area, and that would really give us that new daily uptrend, or at least a more of a neutral to bullish stance overall. But until that happens from the daily perspective, we just still have to keep in mind of this downtrend and see if we potentially trade down a little bit lower. From the daily perspective, though, I will keep an eye. You can kind of see right here, all these times we've had these buy reactions. So I'll keep an eye. And that's basically that 18,200 to 18,165. Keep an eye on that area as well. I think that from this daily perspective, we start breaking under this, then it would be more likely that we would trade down into this lower part of this range here. So we start to get confirmation under here. We trade down under here. Of course, if we trade here and they are supported, we can look for potential longs in that area to come back up into this zone right here. I don't know if this will get rejected. That's anybody's guess. But ideally, we do break through and then come back up into the 700. So that's what I would be paying attention to there. So definitely, let's see, that's about 40 points or so. A little tricky to snipe something like that on an intraday time frame, but I think that it's worth paying attention to if we do start seeing some selling and say, okay, well, where are some other hourly supports or something like that as we trade into this zone, and maybe we can pick something off that way. So, but let's break it down. Speaking of the hourly chart, let's get into that. We've got some daily levels, we've got some weekly levels now to pay attention to. All right, let's get into that. And you know what we could even do? Why don't we do this one a little bit differently? Let's just do this one based on the fibs. Why don't we just do that? Why not? Okay, so right now from this perspective, really what we're gonna hold here, we are starting to break it down again. We're talking about that whole number. We're 10 points below it now. I think that as long as we trade really still under that basically we stay under the 50% retracement here, under 18 305 307. We stay under that. We could look for trades to come back down, probably trade back down into these equal lows here around this 18250, 18247 potential area. Maybe they do a little bit of engineer some liquidity, whip us down. This wouldn't surprise me either. Take out everybody's stops underneath the 57, whip us down right here into the low 30s. You can see right here, perfect spot that nobody probably is paying attention to. Whip us down into there, take it long, and before the potential trade back up into the figure, back up into that pivot. But as long as we stay under here, I think that this would be our ultimate price target for those shorts. I start to get a bit nervous. We start to trade underneath the 18. 230. We start to trade under that. I would be suspecting we trade back into the 23.6 retracement down here. Of course, we're going to pay attention to the 18.200, but 175 or 174 half basically we could come into. But I would also pay attention. Same thing with ES, right? We had this bear flag here, but we started to break out over that structure and invalidated that. This is where the market shifted, right? So I would also last stop for the bulls. I mean, again, I don't know. Again, this maybe I would try along here, but this would really be the last stop of where I would be more likely to think that we're going to try to trade into Friday's lows. We start to break underneath 120 we'll just call it. We start to break under there, then I think we're going to trade back down here into these lows. So I would pay attention to that kind of area as well. It might even be just a little bit. Yeah, I think right about there, and 18. We'll call it 18,115. So under that, watch out. My next target to the downside would be 1856, 55 area, 50. Okay, so that would be what I would be looking there for the bulls. We start recapturing the figure, recapturing 07. Trades back up into the equal highs here at 65.70 would be the next target. Over that, I'm starting to feel nice for that 400 level. We've already kind of been over how big that 18,400 area is. But you can see here though with the 618 retracement, that's also pretty much lining up with our daily 9 and 20 right there in the oh wait, no, 43. It's right here in this area. I thought it was a little bit higher. Sorry, excuse me, but it's right here up in the area. So this is going to be that clutch, zone that we need to recapture, and then the 400, right? And that's going to be the highs, of course, from Friday's session. So that we'll be paying attention to that. Over that, easy shot in my opinion, back up into the 18,450 area. And then over that, we'll be looking for the breakdown candle to bring us to 18,500. And then over that, back to the highs as if Thursday never happened. So that would be what I'd be looking at there for the NQ. All right, perfect. I hope that helped. And let's now look at some other levels and charts that we like to look at. Let's get into the dollar here. And again, I appreciate all the followers for joining me here on these breakdowns. Really appreciate it. So here we are with the dollar. I am watching here again as we are still trading over 104. Came right into 104 on the 4th. That's where we saw our bounce. We didn't see any of that acceptance over 104.50, which I was happy about. Happy to see. Now look here, we've got kind of up down, up, down. Do we see kind of a repeat here? Is this possible that we reject and see a sell-off just like this, come back down, and this perfectly mirrors? I would say it's possible, right? So let's keep an eye out for history to potentially rhyme and give us some relief here on the dollar. Let's see. Here we go. So let's see what happens here. We can just put up this little channel. Let's see what we got. Does it rhyme? We'll only know if it breaks under 104, right? So 104, we can possibly get back into those 103 50s, and of course, if that happens, that gives us a little bit of strength in the markets. That would be good. But if we start seeing acceptance back over the 104.50, you know where I think we're going, back to 105. This is the trouble area. We've been over that. Nothing's changed there. Over 105. Oh boy, we're in trouble. So let's see what happens there on the dollar this week with the CPI number coming out. All right, let's look at the 10-year here. Okay, so we're hanging out. We were watching this gap right in here. We said that we probably would start to trade into over this 43.30 area. We are trading over that. You know, still going to be, the longer we hang out over here, the worse it is going to be for the rates. And let me just, okay, this is one of the other charts we were looking at, but I just kind of wanted to point out here what we could also kind of be possibly forming right here. Something like this. Whoops, come on. Something like this to set us up some sideways, and then boom, we head back up into this next key area here at this 44.5, maybe 44.64 area. So watch out for that potential bull flag, and for the rest of that gap kind of to fill itself out. As it stands, it looks like it wants to break out in a flag. And if we look at the TLT, which I was earlier, this definitely looks like a bear flag to me. They have, of course, that inverse relationship here, but I do kind of want to point something out on the TLT that I have been watching, which could be encouraging, although the chart again here does not look too good. But we did break out of this major downtrend, right? And we do have another weekly downtrend here kind of forming, suggesting that TNX will move up higher. Still, as with this kind of weekly bear flag, as you can see, kind of breaking down. But what's going to happen if we start to trade, if TLT starts to come back and retest this area here? I don't know exactly when it will get there or if it will get there, but if TLT starts to come into the 89.50s area here, retest this major trend line, you know, that's a trade I really enjoy taking, that BRB. So, you know, it's a potential that we could see a little bit more pressure here on TLT, bringing TNX up higher. But if we come down into this area, again, I don't know exactly if it's going to be here or here, where on the slope, but we could potentially see a bounce there, giving us a nice push here in the bonds, and hopefully making TNX come down lower. Really, at that point, though, we would have to suspect, though, if it comes in back tests this 92 area, 91.80, that we could just see a rejection and have this come back down, maybe for a third test. Will it bounce from there? It's anybody's guess, but if it doesn't, that would not be good, and we probably would see more downside here, and TNX would head up higher. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm definitely paying attention to this as it develops, for some possible signals of what could be going on in the broader market overall, because if we do get a bounce here, that would be good for the equities overall. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right. Okay. So I think we went over everything I wanted to as far as TNX and TLT. Let's get into some of our other data points here and see what we can take away from those as we close out the video here. Looks like people are starting to get into some put options here put call ratio sneaking up a little bit higher. Look where it is. We've had some issues here when it gets up into this 87 zone. It's starting to peek its head over. Nothing in a contrarian level yet, though, but we'll pay attention. But it looks like people are starting to really position there on the short side a bit. So we shall see. That goes without question. Seeing VIX now for the first time in a while back over that 15 mark and 1575. I would say it's a non-committal close over the 1575, but that's our big pivot. Looks kind of like a bull flag here to me. When as long as we, VIX just kind of hangs out like here, especially hangs out over 15, watch out for another move higher. Wouldn't surprise me if this actually plays out to see VIX come potentially up into the 17s, maybe 1750, I'd hate to say, but we definitely want to watch out for that as well. Breaking back under 15 and 1575, I'll feel a little bit better, but you can see what happened really here when it's just hanging out in that 12. It got lazy and then boom, right when you least expect it. And we did talk about that a little bit in last week's video as well, where we were seeing some of those VIX internals that we like to look at, signaling, hey, watch out, we're getting in a little bit of a scary zone here. All right, let's look at how many stocks are trading over their 50-period moving average and their 200-period moving average. Still kind of downtrending here. Still over 50%, that's fine. Really want to see it back over 75. Let's see how what happens. We start seeing those 75% readings again. Could roll over from there. But we'll pay attention to that. And the 200 is sitting right at that 75% level, kind of bouncing off a little bit there slowly, so that is good. Of course, we have that Friday rally that helped us out. The other thing actually I did kind of want to go into is we're kind of looking at some of the market breadth here. We did have that bounce back. XLP, XLU, utilities. Oh, this is not okay. It went the other way. Okay, there we go. SMH, decent bounce back. I'm gonna post some charts actually on my Twitter about SMH. I kind of want to do some analysis. That really has been a strong bellwether with the semis. Obviously, Nvidia really being kind of the new VIX, for a lack of a better term, and our comparison. As far as kind of be gauging the market. So I'm going to definitely do some analysis here on SMH or on my Twitter, so check that out. If you don't already follow me at underscore shark trades on Twitter, you can find that. I will post that later tonight. VOLD though, inflows decent coming in on Friday after that steep decline on Thursday, coming down pretty sharply, but gaining some traction back over zero. Let's see if they can continue these bullish inflows on Monday. ADD as well with the whipsaw on Thursday being kind of peaking out right around that 2000 and then just collapsing with that geopolitical news here. But back over zero on Friday. Let's see, we spent most of the week over zero, slight dip on Monday, but we spent most of the week over, kind of really seeing, moves in both directions, kind of showing us that up and down price action that we had, especially after that Thursday wonk. But overall, still, I think more of the readings are over that zero line, so I think that's encouraging overall. So yeah, let's see about those 75 readings here on the 200, the SPX A200R. If that holds over 75, I think that would be constructive. And let's see how the 50R reacts as we come right up into that level. We're just a couple of tenths of a percent away there, but everything's over 50%, so no real reason for concern there. New highs versus new lows. Yeah, kind of flat here, just hanging out, really not doing anything. Still over the zero line. Came down a bit again, a little concerning here, kind of saying, hey, maybe we're still over zero, so not we're not totally scared. But I think the fact that this really isn't up as much as kind of I would think it would be after Friday's snapback, kind of maybe signaling that that bounce was probably just in a handful of names and not really seeing the broader market totally going with that bounce. And I think the market breadth on Friday also was, it was okay. It was, 2 to 1, um, 1.5 to 1, but nothing that was super strong. Okay, so let's keep it moving along right now. Let's look at the Dow and the transports here. I'm having a little bit more of an issue. Transports are just kind of consolidating sideways. Want to see them still hang out here above this VPOC on the daily, which is sitting right at 860, we can call it. But the Dow for me is kind of having a little bit more issues than any of the other charts here. Is this big structure break. I'm actually going to post about this. This big structure break here on the daily. This is an issue as we kind of double topped here, and now we've broken under. We came back up, retested. As long as the Dow here is trading under basically 39,500, I am having an issue. And they are going to really have to recapture that. Is this kind of one of the canary in the coal mines, kind of showing us that, hey, maybe there's a little bit more of some cracks kind of going on structurally? Well, this could be one of the things pointing to saying yes, because, this is kind of a major break in the structure for me on the Dow. We had, of course, that 50% retracement. Let's see what happens if they can get, if bulls can get their act together and get us back over 39,000. I think I'll start to feel a little bit better. Then we can get a little bit neutral and see if we can't trade up into that 39,500 area, 5,400. I think that's going to be important. But let's pay attention to that and see what goes on here with transports. I'm glad that they held a POC here at the 15,900 thereabouts. Let's see if they start to get if they start losing it though. It's likely that we would trade back down into the 530s, 535. Maybe we've got a date with the 200 just below that area, which could be a nice retest for a long there on the transport. So pay attention to that. It's actually interesting. The transports are kind of holding up a little bit better to me, but yeah. So all right, let's keep it moving along here. I'm going to take a look here at this price level. Okay. Good here, SPY. Look at this really nice back test of this trend line that we've got here. I don't really have the bond, with HYG is just kind of flat, right? You can kind of see the uptick. Not really as in sync as I would want. I'm going to pay attention to see if divergence starts to develop here. Definitely want to pay attention to that. You would think that this would be kind of perking up a little bit more. So I'm going to pay attention there and see what's going on. I'm going to put in something. Let's just watch to see if this gets more in any type of a lockstep. But really nice trend line bounce there. Let's see if SPY can hold over that 517. Okay, let's just get into VIX futures and close out the meeting here. Look at this. Starting to get a little bit. We've been in this deep contango. Hey, we're almost getting into a backwardation. Look at that. That's interesting here. That could be a little bit of a risk off type of situation. Looking at this, if we get closer to that zero line, broke over the 9 versus the monthly, broke over the 0 line again, came back under, but really not that far under. Let's see if it holds over the 0. That could be an issue for volatility, or a signal of more volatility as well. And you can see here where this was what we were talking about last week with VVIX hanging down in that 75 area, complacency zone, pushing up higher, got too comfortable. And want to watch this very closely now here. If we start trading down, to the low 80s, I feel a little bit better. But as long as we hold 50% of this move up higher, over 85, 86 area, watch out. We could come back up into the 86, over 100, start to get nervous. Over 105, 103, definitely nervous here. For the VVIX and volatility, I think the VIX, we've kind of been over that before on our first slide, over that 15 and 1575. So the VIX definitely could be potentially showing us a little bit of a warning. So I want to pay attention to that as well, with these elevated readings starting to peak in on volatility here. So volatility is definitely saying a little bit of warning sign overall, and for us to have a little bit of caution. But of course, with CPI, everything can just change on a dime. All right, well, that's pretty much everything I've got for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. Here, the analysis on the E-minis and the NASI. I appreciate you guys joining me. I hope it has been helpful. If this is your first time to the channel and you enjoyed the analysis, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Really appreciate all the support. It means a ton to me. Again, for the people that have been with me, thank you for joining. Remember, as we as we close out every video, what do we say? A prepared trader is a profitable trader. So let's plan our trades, trade our plans. Let's have a great week. Thank you again so much. And I'll see you guys in the internet world. All right, take care and have a great one.